Anyone who wants to come onto their screen now, I've unmuted your microphone. Just give me a minute because I just need to work out. Oh. Give me a second, everyone, sorry. Okay. Sorry. Okay, let's go back to Zoom. You heard that? Sweetie, we have to go out, okay? Okay. Okay. So, anyone who wants to come onto their screen, it'd be lovely just to see everyone who's on. Hi, David.
Hi.
I can see, Michael, you're still muted. I don't know if you want to unmute your microphone. And Josephine, we can't see you, but I can see that you're on.
Yes, can you hear me? Jacqueline? Can you hear me, Jacqueline?
Josephine, I can hear you. I can't see you, though. You want to turn on your camera?
No, I've not put it on because I'm a wreck.
Okay. Okay. No problem. Well, it's nice that you can still join in the conversation.
Jacqueline, can you see me? I can hear you, but I can't see you.
No, Howard, I can't see you. Do you have a camera?
Yes.
So at the bottom of your screen, there should be, next to the picture of the microphone, there should be a picture of the video camera.
Yes.
At the moment, does it have a red line through it?
Yeah, it says, yeah.
So if you click on it, then it should, the red line should let you join the video.
It's not doing, that's the problem.
Okay, no, well, we can hear you anyway, so you could definitely join in with your comments.
Okay.
So the first question really is that was something a little bit different than what we would usually do. It was a video that Rabbi Nick and myself both felt was quite powerful and quite different to be able to share. It's not our normal format for Lunch and Learn, but we thought maybe not every day will be the same format. What are your thoughts on how that was?
Well, that's Joe here. I have tried to get the screen up, but it's not coming, so I'll just speak to you. I did find it very inspirational and very good, and it led me to some thoughts that this is a terrible, terrible plague, but perhaps Hashem meant it, because I understand that the planes are grounded, the cars are not running, the factories are closed, and the pollution in the air has cleared to a large extent over China and over the whole world, and that the nature is again replenishing itself. So maybe some good will come after the bad. That's made us listen to stop killing the planet. And also another nice thought, I spoke to my son yesterday. They're both husband and wife home with the two girls, and he told me that they made a routine for their schooling. At 9 o'clock they'll have their work, 11 o'clock they'll have their levels, and 1 o'clock they'll all have lunch together. And I thought, isn't that lovely? Usually they're all too busy with their different activities to sit together and have lunch. And I hope some of these nice things will continue after the horror has gone.
I think one of the very important things, and Joe, I think you're right that we are seeing so many beautiful side products of this. I think what we have to be very careful is there's no way that we can know why this is happening or why God has allowed this to happen. And I think whenever we see tragedy or we see terrible things happening, it's like the question that often is asked, with the Holocaust, why did God allow it to happen, or how could God allow it to happen? I think what's very important to realize is there is not an answer to a question like that. But I agree with you, Joe, that it's important to be able to see some of the wonderful things that are coming about from the fact that we are all in a very difficult situation, that we all are self-isolating, that we all are spending more time, whether it's virtually or whether it's actually with our families, that we are becoming more mindful of the world and the environment. It's almost like we've been forced to do that. But at the same time, not to say this is why God has done this to us.
No, I don't know. I just suppose perhaps, I don't know that he did do it, but but it was just a thought because it's just so catastrophic.
Yeah. Michael, did you have anything that you wanted to share? You're muted.
There we go. No, not really, not at the moment. It's just very interesting times, and that there's so many people have different views and are approaching the issues in very, very different ways. And it's just very concerning that the majority people are listening, but the minority that aren't listening are going to cause huge problems for the rest of us unnecessarily.
Yeah, I mean, we couldn't say it more severely than we're already dealing with Levias. It's really, and that's only now. We don't know what's going to come already in the weeks ahead. But 100%, Michael, we cannot take seriously enough all the government guidelines, and everyone should just stay away from each other. We have to. This is where we're being asked not just to have faith, but to take action. And the action we're being asked, one side of it is to stay away from people. Just follow the guidelines. Just don't go out. Stay in your home. As hard as it is, we have to do our part. And at the same time, what Mr. Harary was talking about as well is this idea of there's no need to be doing all this panicking and hoarding, and everyone's going to be looked after. We're going to make sure that everyone is okay, but only if we all think of each other, which is so important. Both keep away from each other, but also be there for each other, and not buy out the shops and panic and make it unfair on the people who whether it's NHS staff or people who are vulnerable. We need to look out for everyone.
Exactly. I just had a video conference call with a client who is in India, and he's actually stuck there for the moment because he can't get back to the UK. And they're in total lockdown, and the population, and you know how large the population of India is, they are all following the guidelines that have been laid down by the government, and there's no concessions and there's no discussion. It is something that has to be done.
Yeah. And we'll all get our Pesach food, we'll all get everything we need. It will happen. We just need to follow the things we're meant to. David, did you have something you wanted to contribute?
Something to ask you.
Obviously.
We had a Zoom meeting, actually, very nicely with the whole family around the world yesterday, which was really beautiful. And the subject came on that if we turn on our iPads before Seder night starts, can we have a communal Seder night amongst the family with the iPad on?
Yeah, I think that's going to be a big shaila that's going to be asked by a lot of people. I know definitely in terms of the shul, what we're going to try to do is to do a virtual Seder before candle lighting time. But I think that I can't paskin on that. I can't give a ruling. I think that is going to be one of the biggest shilas being asked right now. Is there a way, if we don't touch anything, that we can all stay in virtual contact? And I will leave that to bigger shoulders than mine to paskin.
Thank you.
Okay, but it will be coming up. Keep an eye. I'm sure, and also we're doing Passover perspective, so I'm sure that will be part of what we talk about. Because I agree with you, most people are going to be having a Seder night that's completely different to anything that they would ever have imagined or ever have had before. I know we are. We're not going to be with any guests.
Some people will be entirely alone for the first time ever.
Exactly. So we'll have to see what different rulings come out.
Good. See if you can influence your husband to give a good ruling.
Yeah, I think he'll speak to his boss. That's going to be the big question. But yeah, definitely something. I mean, the before Yom Tov idea is a very good one. Even if they do say that you're not allowed to on Yom Tov, there's no reason. What we in previous years, what we often do is we go to old age homes before, or senior homes, whatever we call them. But we go to them before Yom Tov, and we'll do a Seder then. And you can still drive afterwards because it's not Yom Tov yet. So there are probably, that might be the best option to make sure that we're all still together virtually, and then to have an abridged version of Seder. It might mean that you don't need to eat so late, so maybe there is a positive in it.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, anyone else? I can't see anyone else's faces, but anyone? Howard, did you want to comment at all?
I think it was very inspirational, though there was a bit of kept cutting out all
Yes.
the time.
Yes, I have to look at that.
But I do think that we are in very worrying times, and I guess it is about, you know, we all need that much more security, and we're all saying to people it'll be fine, it'll be all right, but nobody really knows. And I think that yes, it's good that people are becoming more, perhaps more charitable or thinking about other people. It gives you that opportunity. But it is just unfortunate there are so many people that it appears are not doing.
Yeah.
So I don't think you'll, you know, in some cases, I don't think you'll ever change that, you know. But I think it's, so long as we all do what we have to do and do the right thing within our own community, then I think that's all we can ever do, really.
Yeah, I definitely. I think we need to each look at ourselves, and I think that
Yeah.
when the corona pandemic is over, I don't think any of us are going to be the same people that we were a week ago, never mind a month ago. There's no way that this isn't going to change each and every one of us. And I think if part of that, the direction of change and the way that we're going to lean is to lean closer to God, I think that that's an incredible thing. I know it's not the same, and I know that comparisons, we have to be careful when we compare things, but I know that whenever I have spoken to a Holocaust survivor who has spoken about the fact that they have still remained with their faith in God, to me it's always been something that is completely incomprehensible, that they went through what they did and they still believe in God. But I think that, I'm not comparing the two at all, but I think that when you are at a crisis in life, and I think this is a worldwide crisis, we're going to all be asked to make the choice whether we choose to lean into God or whether we choose to lean away from him. And I think Charlie's analogy of the Father ready to catch us is something that's very, very special and very powerful. I also think the fact that he spoke about suddenly all of us having to decide, what is it that defines us? Am I my job? Well, actually, for a lot of people now, they're not their job, right? Am I, you know, my persona when I go outside? Well, for most of us, we're not going outside. And suddenly it's now, who is it that we are really being close to? Who is it that we really are for others? And that's suddenly become our business card, as he called it. That's become our major definition, is who we really are and what really matters, what's really important. I can see there are some other people who are on. Leslie, are you on?
Yes, I am. But
Did you want to make any comments, Leslie?
No, I came on too late, Jacqueline. I didn't hear the talk, but
Okay.
I'm just listening to what
Fine. Well,
everybody's got to say.
If you had any insight or thoughts about you know, your current situation or the current situation at all, you please feel free to chime in.
Thank you.
We will be uploading the video, so those who didn't get a chance to watch it still could.
Okay.
Who else do we have on here? Hold on just one moment, sorry, just a second. Sorry about that. I'm still trying to manage children running in and out. They've been pretty good.
Yesterday.
Okay. Are there any other thoughts or comments that anyone wanted to share? For those of you who are on for the video, do you like this way of us choosing something that we'd like to share and then being able to talk about it afterwards, or do you prefer it being we're going to probably do a variation of both, but are you happy to have this on occasion? Hi there.
Hi.
What are your thoughts? I don't know how the technology works from your side.
I think it's a good idea, this. I think it's good, but I just think we need to get the technology improve, but I think it's a good idea.
Yeah. Okay.
Joe here, I think it's a good idea. I found the talk very inspirational, very interesting.
Lovely. So that way, I just think that way you can hear from lots of different speakers, not just the
Yeah.
rabbinic team, and we'll
Yeah.
choose who we find interesting, because there's some great talks out there. So it'd be lovely to be able to share some. The other question is if there's anything else that you think would be. Oh, sorry, David.
Sorry to interrupt you. Is the talk that came on the same time every day, or is it some days? How often does it? Is the
So
program?
there will be lunch and learn every day at this time.
From what? From, and I've lost
It
track
was,
of time.
I
Is
think
it what,
it's
from
from
11?
12. I think it's from 12 to 1.
Yeah.
From 11 to 12, there's a virtual coffee room, which is just a chance for people who want to come on and chat. I think some days it will be busier than others. And then in the evening, there's going to be a class on every day. There's Pesach perspective. You know, once this class finishes, I think Rabbi Nick will share the schedule again. I'm just seeing if I can get it up on my phone now at the same time. But I will ask Rabbi Nick will post it. So even if you don't want to keep logging on and off, what you can do is you can leave this on with your sound off or your microphone off, and the schedule will be on there. But let me just tell you, because 1 second, because he's sent. Here we go. So for today, after this session, we've got at 6:30 to 7, there's going to be Pesach Perspectives with Rabbi Elchanan, and that's a lot of the practical side of how to make Pesach, or how to make Pesach meaningful. And there'll also be a chance with that to ask your questions. So David, I'm sure the question about how to have a Seder with family is going to come up. I know it has done already. People are already asking that, but it will definitely be addressed. And then we've got at 7:30 to 8:30, every day there's a different daily dose of Torah. So the one tonight is How Do You Jew It with Rabbi Nick, and Back to Basics, learning the Shabbat services.
Thank you.
Okay, but Rabbi Nick will put up the schedule, and it's going to be sent out today as well. Are you all finding there's quite a lot going on virtually, or it's quite quiet?
No, it's fine.
Oh, Rabbi Nick's now put it up. There we go.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah.